So safeguarding is about protecting vulnerable people. Now, when I say financial safeguarding, I'm adding the level of being exploited, abused, scammed because of money. Financial safeguarding can even be in a case of you sharing you giving somebody a loan on your behalf. So your friend hasn't got a great credit score, you have a great credit score, you take out the loan in that person.
Thank you very much for joining me again, Natasha. This is our third week, and we started our journey on everything to do with money and finances last, I think it's 3 weeks now, isn't it? First week, we talked about just understanding money, what is money, and how we can develop healthy relationships with money. And last week, we talked about credit score, credit reports, and how we can maintain a good credit score. And also, we talked about budgeting and saving and things like that. And we talked about a lot of resources that people can use. That's including the support that you give people on individual basis, also as organizations or schools, youth centers, and things like that. So today we are moving on to financial safeguarding. Which I know is a topic that is really close to your heart, and you've been preaching about this for a while, and you've been all over the schools, social media, and trying to help people to understand what is financial safeguarding. So, for those who have not watched the episode 9 and 10, I'd encourage you to go back and start, because that's where the journey started, so you get a better understanding. However, if people don't want to go back and they just want to know a bit about you before we get into this conversation, can you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do and why you do what you do.
Thank you, Ezra, and thank you for having me back. So, yeah, I have been talking about financial literacy for a few years now. I enjoy what I do. I speak to young people and even adults all about personal finance, budgeting, saving. But as I've walked through this journey, and young people who are so inquisitive ask me questions, but Miss, I can make money online. Or Miss, I made £500 last week. Or Mum, Miss, I can make money easily. Then I realized that there's an issue. They think money and these schemes are easy to start. They'll be wealthy forever, and it's just they don't need school. So what I've seen and what I'm talking about so much is financial safeguarding by protecting young people. So I'm a mum. I have 2 children, a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I can see them being very inquisitive about money already. And as they progress in school and in life, they're going to want money to buy certain things. But I need to let people know and fellow parents that it's our duty to protect our young people. So yes, there's safeguarding in terms of vulnerability and abuse, but then somebody can financially abuse you. Sometimes people who are wealthy, independent schools, wealthy kids can also be exploited. So my awareness and my passion is just to let fellow teachers know, fellow parents know that we can do more, especially now we're having a digital life and a digital world and social media, that we can just protect our young people a little bit more, because we want them to go to school, we want them to go and get a great job, we want them to enjoy their money, but we also need to teach them how to protect it. And that's the bit that I'm concerned about, and that's the bit that I'm always going to preach on, about protecting yourself, your well-being, and your money. Because I've experienced not having a lot of money, losing so much money, and it affecting how I maneuver in this world. So I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I've been through. So anytime I talk about financial safeguarding, a lot of adults say, I need that as well. I need help from financial abuse. I need help from being exploited. So as much as I may concentrate on young people, it's for everybody who resonates with this message.
Okay. You've already started touching on what financial safeguarding is, but give us a little bit more information, as in if you are explaining to someone who doesn't have never come across anything to do with financial safeguarding, what would you say? And how do you explain it?
So safeguarding is about protecting vulnerable people. Now, when I say financial safeguarding, I'm adding the level of being exploited, abused, scammed because of money. Financial safeguarding can even be in a case of you sharing you giving somebody a loan on your behalf. So your friend hasn't got a great credit score, you have a great credit score, you take out the loan in that person, and that your generosity has affected your relationship, and that person's abusing your loyalty and your generosity. So financial safeguarding is protecting people's finances by being exploited. Sometimes we're exploited because we're naive, we
Mm,
weren't sure, and
mm,
that exploitation can get deeper and deeper. And the thing about financial safeguarding is, with all safeguarding issues, the abuse can be so deep rooted that it's hard to come out of it. And my concern is with finances again, is that because it takes us a long time to reach a level of income that maybe could be sufficient to you,
mm,
if you lose that income, it's hard to gain it back quickly, and it affects your confidence. So financial safeguarding is purely being aware of how you could be fall prey and be a victim, and signposting people and showing them the signs and the risks that they could fall into so they don't have to make a poor financial decision.
mm. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned that it is for everyone. It's for young kids. It's for adults. But I've seen at the moment your work is really focused on young adults and kids, school kids. You're going into schools and you're teaching students about financial well-being and financial safeguarding. Why is this issue critical at the moment?
It's critical at the moment simply because right now, with the digital age, everybody's on their phones. We are siloed. We are in our own world, and not understanding what we see on social media is not always legit. I always tell young people, you are seeing somebody's 60-second highlight reel. You're not seeing the remaining 23 hours and 59 minutes. So it's so important for all of us not to be deceived, to see that what we see online on screen is the truth, and that we have to be careful. Right now, everything, we take what we see as that's what happens, but there's level of deceit. So the urgency now is that young people, again, I say this all the time, that back in the day when I was a kid, I could get a part-time job in the high street. I'll go to Mothercare, hand my CV in, I'll probably get a call the following week. Young people this now in this day and age can't get a part-time job as they used to, because the high street is practically over. No one shops
Mm,
on the high street. We're all shopping online. Therefore, the young person's finding it difficult to earn a sustainable income, that they're being lured into online scams, online gambling, online betting, online gaming, online favors. And now with the world being so small globally, I could be doing a friend in Rwanda or Malaysia a favor financially. So it's the awareness of how simple it is. And back in the day, financial transactions had to be done in a bank. In the high street, I can transfer money digitally on my phone in 2 seconds. So it's that awareness of how money is being moved quickly and easily that we need to be understanding how it's happening. And then young people right now, I'm saying so much, young people right now, anytime I speak to them, they know investing. When I was a kid, I had no
mm,
idea what investing was. It was go to school, get a job, live happily ever after. Now, this day and age, kids know about investing. They know about wealth creation. They're intrigued. They're more ambitious. But that ambition needs to be guided, because if they're thinking, oh, I can make money easily without guidance, they're being corrupted. So it's that their appetite for investing needs to be guided. And that's where the urgency is. Because I can tell you right now, 6 out of 10 kids know about investing and know about crypto. I don't know how, but that buzzword, they know it, they understand it, they want to dabble in it, but they don't understand that it's a fake investment and then there's risky investment. So it's just guiding them through this journey of life.
yeah. And this is where you come in. So in terms of like when you're in a school setting, what are kind of examples that you can use for students to understand, or young people to understand the actual impact of maybe trusting someone? Because you mentioned about the banks closing in the high street, and that removed that layer of security where you had to go into the bank. They'll ask you questions about your transfer, now you can do a transfer from your home, sitting on the toilet or something,
Yeah.
having a cup of tea. It's very easy. And our kids at the moment, they've got mobile phones, they've got internet, so they can make these transactions. So how do you get them to understand the impact of these things so that they have an awareness?
So when a young person thinks that they're transferring money online to a friend, they think it's very simple. But I always tell young people that Big Brother is watching you. What do I mean by Big Brother? All these banks have fraud departments. As technology is proving websites can be tracked, we can be tracked, and your transactions can be tracked. So I'm saying this to say, if you think that you're transferring a friend and there's nobody in the fraud department who's monitoring your transactions, you are wrong, that you are mistaken. So it's highlighting to young people that there are consequences to their actions, and that the favor that they're doing is not a favor because somebody's using you to clean their money, which is called money muling. A young person wants a job or to do a friend a favor. Hi, Tommy, can you transfer £1,000 to my friend, please? And when you transfer the £1,000, do you know what? You can keep 100 of it. So actually transfer £900. Tommy has transferred it naively, innocently, but therefore they've cleaned dirty money because the banks and the fraud department knows that I have maybe a history of fraudulent activities. I'm being watched. I can't transfer that money to you, Ezra. I have to go through Tommy. So I'm saying this to say that there's sometimes when it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Because if I need Tommy to clean my money, Tommy should ask me, Natasha, why can't you do it yourself? Then
Mm.
that should lead the conversation. If you can't do it, why should I do it? And that's how I'm trying to protect money. If somebody's telling you to do something, why can't they do it themselves? Why do they need you? What are they hiding? And those are the conversation starters that I want young people to be aware of.
Okay. So are there any other kind of common threats that kids are facing online at the moment, especially around money?
Oh, Ezra, you're going to make me talk all day. So there's the money muling, then there's the get rich quick scheme. So again, no shade to social media influencers. There are some very legit people out there. And unfortunately, where there's legit people, there's illegitimate people. Now, the difference between the two is that if somebody's telling you that they made £500 in an investment scheme and they can't tell you clearly, concisely how they do it and how they do it consistently, and it was just a one-off scheme. It could be like gambling, it was your lucky day, or it could be like a lottery, it was your lucky day. But young people think, oh, it was a quick rich scheme, he'd made £500, so can I. You don't know what the other person did and how consistently they done it and how much money they've lost before they gained £500. So anytime you see a quick rich scheme from somebody and they can't give you receipts, can't give you a methodology, and the methodology is a consistent methodology, not about something that you did in 6 months, something that you can do 2 years, 5 years. There is questionable. Quick rich schemes sound so appealing because we all want money and we all want money quickly because we all have desires, which is legitimate. But sometimes quick money, as I've said to you before, is not long money. If it took you 10 seconds to make it, but you can't make it quickly and you can't make it consistently, there's a problem. So, young people, be careful of a social media person who's telling you they made £10,000 in 90 days. Just be careful. Talk to your parents. Mum, this social media influencer said they made £10,000 a day. Can you watch the video with me? I want to do the same. Then you and your parent can have a guided conversation to see how that person done it and if it was legitimate. Because there are things called pyramid schemes. They will get you to do the investment, but the investment is really go and trick somebody else to do what I've just taught you. So you're being taught how to manipulate people and you're not actually being taught something tangible. That's two. There's online trading. Again, I keep on hearing crypto, crypto, crypto. Miss, I'm going to do crypto. Crypto's unregulated. Crypto has no history, is a new scheme, is a new product. There's no receipts to back up its performance. And then people inflate their crypto portfolio, get you to invest in this portfolio. Once they've seen that their crypto asset has appreciated, they then take it out and sell it. But then you've lost your investment through it because it's crashed. So you're putting money in something that is fragile. That's my issue with crypto. It's fragile. There's no backing, there's no performance history. Why put something in there that hasn't been proved and tested? So, again, young people, there's a difference between a risky investment and a completely fake investment. And then there's I've said money muling, I've said crypto, I've said get rich schemes. And then the common signs of being abused is just being manipulated. You've met somebody online, you've started a relationship, they're abusing you financially because you've got a great score, you've got wealthy parents, and it's the manipulation behind why they want to be friends with you or in a relationship because they just want to take what you have. So those are the common things that are happening in the world as we speak.
Yeah. So the trick for the kids out there is not to trust everyone, because this
No,
could be
not to
someone
trust it.
you have kind of invested their time to build some sort of a relationship with you over time, just to get you to trust them when they say, "Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me?" And then you end up in trouble. Okay, so do you have kind of a real life example of a case where you have seen a child or young person being exploited, financially exploited?
Yeah, so when I've worked in these schools, the way I teach, the way I facilitate, it means that kids can find it quite comforting to talk to me. So in between a session, there may be a 15-minute break. The young person said, Miss, what you've just said, I think I've done that. My friend said I should transfer money. So I did it last week and I transferred £1,000. I didn't think there was anything wrong. And tell the person, thank you for sharing. We pause it because I'm in a school. I then called the school's designated safeguarding lead and I explained to the teacher who's the safeguarding lead, this is what
Mm,
this young person has said to me. So therefore I now have to pass on this information to the teacher so that they can focus on this young person. So I say this to say, because I've spoken about money muling, it's resonated with them. They've done it the week prior for me before I attended. That has made them realize that there's consequences because young people don't know if you do this transfer and you do it maybe once, twice, like I said, the fraud department are tracking thousands, millions of transactions every day. If they see that you're consistently doing this, they will close Tommy's bank account.
mm,
And if they close your bank account, when you do need a bank account, you can't have it because it's closed. Or they will mark it saying that you're doing illegal transactions. So you're like blacklisted. You can't borrow, you can't get an overdraft. And for certain circumstances, you can face up to 14 years imprisonment for being a money mule. Again, this young person didn't know because they thought it was a favor. So by me talking about this has triggered what they did last week, and now they were scared. So
mm,
luckily, I passed it on to the teacher, and the teacher was able to. Told them what the child can do in order to obviously not do it again, and that they have to sometimes let the police be aware that this is what they've done, and again have this conversation in the school repeatedly. If anybody's telling you to transfer money, please stop and think.
So how do we see like red flags, and what are the things that we should be looking out as parents or as teachers, educators in schools to to kind of highlight to us that maybe someone is being exploited?
I have about 3 or 5 signs. I'll focus on three. If your young person has all of a sudden become very, very disinterested in school because they have a plan of being rich without school, for me is a warning sign because they now know that they don't need school because they've learned something online. That means they don't need to pay attention because online has taught them how to make money. So as soon as your young person is having no interest in school and their vocabulary is, Mum, I can make money online. Mum, I'm going to be rich. Mum, it's easy to make money. They're always using, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich quickly. I don't need school online. The child is subconsciously telling you how they are maneuvering in the world. So one, their vocabulary all of a sudden changes and they're focused on money, 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 quitting school. Two,
Mm,
you will see that they have either too much money in the form of um expensive clothes, or not even expensive clothes, but all of a sudden they're buying more things. When you know previously they bought something once in a blue moon, now they're buying more things. They don't ask you for money as much as they used to. My son can go through a phase where he's always asking me for money. So when he's a bit silent, I'm like, is he feeling okay? Does he have a temperature? Because I'm used to you asking me for money. So those are the signs that if they don't ask you for money, why? Especially if they did, or they don't, or they have money, then that they're buying things without you, that's a concern. Or if they're even upset over money now, because sometimes the young people has invested in this crypto, they've put in their birthday money, they've put in their chill money, and they've lost their money. And now when you tell them, oh, Tommy, you can go and buy your trainers yourself, you've got your own birthday money, and they're like, and they become a bit, it means,
Mm.
where's Tommy's birthday money? Tommy, why can't you use your money? That might mean that they don't have it anymore because they've done something that they shouldn't have done. So that's another sign. They either don't have it or they frown about the word money completely. And obviously, sometimes the kids have money in their money box or under their bed or in their jar. So you might pop there and see that they don't have the money that grandma gave to them 6 months ago. You're going to have that conversation. Where's the money that grandma gave you last week? Then we're like, okay, we can find out what's happening. And another thing about another sign is that sometimes they are online consistently gaming, and they're buying inline games and inline always game buying. Again, that relationship of game buying. Why do you need to buy so many lives? Because they're playing with social media influencers, they're playing with other people in the world, pressuring them to buy more lives to keep them in the game that they're churning through more money. So again, if their relationship with the game and mommy, I need more lives, I need more money, that's a warning sign for me. If they in friendship groups that they have now changed and the friendship group is very much lifestyle based, all of a sudden you were happy with maybe, for example, Primark trainers, and now you have an appetite for designer trainers. Where did that appetite come from? Who is influencing you? Who are you seeing that you want to emulate? That now Primark trainers are non-sufficient for you, and it has to be designer. So therefore, the people that they walk with and their friends are changing their child's appetite. That could be a sign of some kind of level of risk and grooming, because now that they don't have it, they're feeling pressured to have. How will they get there means that they might have to do something illegal to sustain a lifestyle that they weren't meant to partake in.
I guess the question that I have now is, can this be taught in schools? And if it's possible, how can schools kind of put this in their curriculum? The
Yes.
reason I ask is because
Mhm.
you are obviously, you talk about this with authority, with confidence, and this is because of your history, your education, and things like that, right?
Mhm.
Can a teacher, maybe just a math teacher, or, in a school, they don't have the background that you have in finance, can they teach this in school?
Teachers can teach this. However, the problem is that teachers are stretched with their core curriculum that they have to deliver to
Mm.
add another layer to the school's curriculum. So luckily for schools, this fits in the PSHE curriculum. So this is when the teachers talk about personal, sexual, um, abusive relationships during form time, tutor time. So my subject would fit into that. It's just that some teachers don't feel comfortable teaching something that is not their specialism.
Mm.
And this is why an external speaker, which is why loads of schools hire external speakers, because we all have something that we're proficient in. So that's the reason why some schools or some teachers don't want to, because they don't know anything about it. And this is why I'm so passionate about it, because if you don't know, gain the awareness to now highlight it to young people that this issue exists. So this can be delivered as a PSHE lesson, assembly time for a whole year group. You get an external speaker, and the external speaker will speak about a message. So this is how you interject it into the curriculum. Again, with digital learning, online learning, this has to be part of the discussion, because young people are talking about money. We are here to, like I've said, we're in school to gain a qualification, to get a job that has money involved. We have to teach the kids how to be aware and be resilient and also protect themselves. Because the same thing, the way you would protect a young person for knife crime and bullying, is the
mm,
same logic on how you will protect a young person with financial harm, financial abuse. It's the same level, the same playing field for me, anyway, my perspective. Knife crime, bullying, sexual education. We are creating the awareness. We're talking about STDs. We need to talk about financial harm, exploitation, being groomed financially, being exploited financially.
mm,
Everything that we are going through can have a financial element to it, because somebody can be suffering from domestic abuse, and the thing about domestic abuse, you will see a bruise. The
mm,
thing about financial abuse is that you can't see the signs, but it's in their mouth, it's in their mental well-being, it's something that they're going through internally. So if we talk about it, it might trigger the young person to say, actually, I've experienced it, because you won't see it. You won't see a bruise. It doesn't show itself on you, but we need to discuss it. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because
mm,
it takes 60 seconds to lose your money, and it could take you 5 years to recover. Because, like I spoke to you on the credit scores last week, if you make a few bad mistakes on your credit report, it doesn't clear from your credit report until 6 years.
mm,
This young person has to carry this burden, this bad loan for 6 years, which affects their future financial decisions. So, if we want to have well rounded, well equipped young people in this world who are begging for life skills, because their generation, the world is changing constantly, we need to be equipping them and awareness and protecting them. So this is why financial safeguarding is part of schools' curriculum. It's just that teachers may not have the time or the resources to deliver, which is understandable. But this is why you have an external speaker that comes in to support you. Because again, everything I'm saying is not to overtake, is to support what schools are already doing. Schools are already doing mental health awareness days. I'm just saying your awareness day, add financial safeguarding on top.
okay. Um, I was thinking that, when you and I probably we when we went to school, our kind of pressure was from peer pressure only on the playgrounds. Kids nowadays, they've got peer pressure on the playgrounds. They've got peer pressure online, social media. So they have to deal with all this. If you were to give advice to young kids out there, about how they manage in situations, in this issue with safeguarding, financial safeguarding, with peer pressure from the playground, peer pressure, seeing other people on socials buying those expensive things and stuff like that. How should kids handle themselves, or what should they do to avoid being tempted to get into those situations where they victims?
Yeah, so peer pressure and that topic, I always talk to young people as an individual. You are unique, you are special how you are. That's the first thing. Because you are unique and special how you are, what is it that you need to do, and why is it that you need to copy somebody else or be influenced? Is there something that Samantha has that you don't have that you want, and which can happen? We all aspire for more. That
Mm,
means there's something that Samantha has that you want. Do you need to have it now? Do you need to have what she has right now, this present minute, this present day, that is influencing you? Why is it that Samantha has it? And if Samantha's a really good friend, she doesn't have to force you. People who are your, I always tell my son anyway, if somebody really likes you, they won't force you to do something that you don't feel comfortable with. Now, that tells me if somebody's telling you to do something that you're not comfortable with, can you ask yourself, why are you friends with somebody who will make you uncomfortable? Then I expect my son to say, yeah, mum, I didn't feel comfortable with that. I stepped away. But
mm,
unfortunately, some people or young people or all of us, because we can all suffer from peer pressure as adults. Me, I'm a grown woman. I sometimes feel pressure to look a certain way, act a certain way. Then I say to myself, no, I'm fine how I am. I'm not perfect, but I'm very okay how I am. I don't need to copy anybody, because somebody says on, I've heard a post, if you don't show up as yourself, somebody will be looking for you, but they won't find you because you look like somebody else.
mm,
It's so amazing to be an individual right now that you don't have to. You can aspire. but you don't have to copy. And if you aspire to have what somebody else has, find out how to get it in a safe and legal way. If somebody has the 5 bedroom mansion that you want, or if somebody has a car, because young people are in that age where they want to pass their driving test and get their car. And if somebody's got a brand new car and you have to drive your dad's old banger, it's okay. It's just for a season. It's not forever.
Mm.
It's for 2 years until your insurance premium comes down. Then I can justify buying you a brand new car, because your first 2 years, you're going to make a few mistakes. But it's okay to have your journey and you maneuver on your journey because it's yours, it's nobody else's. So I think that's my way of talking about peer pressure and not being influenced. Yes, somebody has something that you like, which is nice, you want it. Find a way of getting it that is good for you and your personality. Because Ezra, remember I spoke to you about we all have a personality and then we all
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a money personality. It's so important. Don't let social media be your reflection in the mirror. You be your reflection and find out what you are good at, how you can perform, and how you can be better. But don't let social media be your reflection. You be your reflection, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much for that, Natasha. So, okay, so let's talk about your programs. How do they help? How do they help young adults to stay safe and maybe become more confident and resilient when it comes to anything financial?
So, what I've learned in delivering workshops, especially to young people, is that it has to be interactive, it has to be engaging, it has to be interesting, it has to be relatable. And they like case studies. They don't want you to preach at them, they want you to have a discussion. So, I've made sure that I have a 6 week course, and even the 6 weeks course, you can pick what topic resonates with you, because somebody could be going through a whole online investment get rich scheme era of their life. So there's a topic specifically for you, and I'll show you there's 5 different quick rich schemes. This is what you do, these are the
Mm.
consequences, this is even the gains or potential losses. And then I showed the young people what, pick a card, pick a situation, how would you maneuver. And then sometimes that's one case of how I would deliver. There's other cases where they like to hear from people's other lived experiences. So I would also have guest speakers come and contribute to what I talk about. But the key takeaway from the safeguarding lessons that I'm delivering is I give young people a choice, because they have choices every single day they wake up. They choose to perform or they choose not to perform. I'm just showing you, if you don't perform, this is how it works out. If you do, this is how you work out. Pick what works for you. I'm just letting you be aware of the risks and the consequences in a form that is appealing to you. So again, there's a course about online fake job adverts, because again, like I said, they can't get a job in the high street. They've gone on a jobs board online. The job advert said work from home, which they want, 10 hours a week, which they love, no experience needed. Fantastic, because they don't have experience. So they sign up, they go for the Zoom meeting, they meet the hiring manager, but not realizing that this job opportunity was fake. So
Mm.
again, I'm showing them different variations of how this job advert could look. So when they see it, they can say, oh, Miss Natasha showed me this 6 months ago. No, that's not a proper job advert. My job is purely awareness, and an awareness that they can see that is relatable. So if you see me, I'm on TikTok and social media, copy and pasting all different variations of job adverts, so that I can, again, because I have a son and a child, I'm showing him this is what it looks like. If you see it and mummy's not around you, you can tell that, mummy showed me this. This is not a real job advert. I should stay away. It's the awareness, by making it interactive. We have a game, a crypto game. We maneuver about investing and de-investing, the consequences. So when you gamify topics as well, young people love that. So it's again going through the board game of life, ups and downs. At the end of the board game, how did you win? How did you perform? Are you happy? Ultimately, are you happy with the decision that you made?
Yeah.
This is it. And they also, I always have to preach to young people in the sense of, you might be happy with the decision you made, but does it help your family and the biggest picture? Because sometimes we are all very into ourselves. We have self-love, self self-help days, self-help books. It's all great to be self, and I understand why, but we also have to remember that we don't live on this world by ourselves. We have other people around me. So if I make this financial decision, how does this affect my mum? My mum is a single parent. My mum looks after me with her one income. If I take this £500 money that I've got and I blow it, my mum has to bail me out. How is your decision affecting people around you? So sometimes young people think, oh, it's my money, I can do what I want with it. Yes, it is your money, but if you lose it, who do you want to replace it for you? Ideally, you would say, oh, mum, can you just give it back to me? Your mum might not have it to give it back to you, and you can't find a part-time job to repay her back. It's the bigger picture. So sometimes I get self, but I'm also letting young people aware that your financial decision affects your little brother, it affects your little sister, it affects you, it affects your parents and your whole community. So it's not just you investing, it influences other people.
Okay. All right. Um, yeah, a lot to take away from there, and hopefully, people, these young kids will listen and try to think about things. To make, when you're making those decisions, it's all about looking at, am I making the right decision for myself now? Am I making the right decision for, like you said, people around me? You told us about a case for an individual student who was being exploited, and that was a success story because the results you helped and the outcome was really good. So, looking at schools or maybe youth centers, do you have a success story for us where you have seen an organization has taken your safeguarding, financial safeguarding frameworks, implemented them, and we had a positive outcome?
So the great thing about what I discuss about financial safeguarding, as much as it's focused on young people are so generous and loving that they go home and they have a discussion, sometimes with their auntie, their uncle, and their parents. So for me, the
Mm,
biggest takeaway that I've taken is that a young person said, you know what, miss, I'm going to share this with my mum and my auntie because they've been in a similar situation. I heard my mum on the phone say that she took a loan out for a friend and the friend
mm,
ain't paying her back, and she feels that the friend is taking advantage of her and abusing her. So I'm saying this to say there's certain there are certain young people who take on this message and they share it and they let other people because everybody wants to be seen to be not a know-it-all, but they've learned something new. We always like to share what we've learned. So I
mm,
say this to say that my topics are so relatable that it's the child, the mum, the grandparent, we can all sit down on the dining room table and discuss how this affects us all. So for me, my biggest takeaway was a young person says, do you know what, I'm going to share this with my mum. That means for me, I've saved or I've helped a young person and their parent, because I would love for somebody to tell my son something and for him to share it with me, so then we're all safe. So I believe in the power of spreading the message to everybody and then pushing the narrative, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. So my workshops are so universal that it's just not just a young person, it's a young parent and their parent who are
mm,
being protected, who are not being groomed, who are not being exploited. And that's the biggest takeaway that I've taken from these delivery sessions, that it's not just a young person. I'm going through the door of a young person, but I've helped
mm.
a home. And that's priceless.
Okay. So if people want to get support from you directly, let's say it might be a family, or it can be a youth club or a school, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can visit me on my website, natashabonsu.com. It is heavily focused on schools, but drop me an email on my website and we can talk about it more. But yes, you find me on my website, natashabonsu.com, and you can find me on social media platforms under Natasha Bonsu. You'll find me and we can have a conversation and we can connect and we can collaborate. Because again, I've started an awareness and I want people to join me and collaborate with me because I'm a one person band. So if the message relates to you and you're an organization and you want to help me spread this message, please connect with me so we can let people be aware. There's charities, there's organizations, there are banks, fraud departments who need help spreading this message. And I would love to connect with them so that everybody is aware of how you can be exploited and how we can stop that.
Okay, thank you. I'll put your details in the description box below. So for those who would like to reach out, please find the details below and reach out to Natasha. Get some help that you need to protect yourselves, protect your family, and everyone around you, really. Okay, Natasha, before we finish, I normally ask for one, but feel free to give me 2, 3, or 4 things that people can start doing, either young adults, schools, parents, what they can start doing today to safeguard themselves from exploitation.
The first thing that you can do is if you're not aware of this topic, research it. Just understand the signs, because safeguarding, especially when I'm talking to teachers, find out if your school, if your young people are having issues financially, because there'll be certain areas where they're more poverty's maybe more in that borough than another borough. So if that's the borough that you live in, then we need to go down the journey of the poverty route. Are they more likely to do illegal things because their income at home is low? Then we need to have a discussion with that kind of child. Then there's going to be boroughs from a wealthy background, a borough that has more high net worth residents. Again, that borough needs to talk to that young person and find out, are they alert? Are they aware? Because they are now going to be a prey for somebody, because that person thinks that you have it bountifully, that I can take a little bit. So that's another message for that particular school. So therefore, find out the demographic of your school and then find out the signs of where they could be groomed, abused, and exploited. Thirdly, generally across the board, regardless if it's a low income or a high income, we should be talking about money. I say this all the time, us Brits, we don't like talking about money. We need to know where people are financially, where people are mentally, if they respect money, aware of money, what's their attitude towards money. So therefore we can understand, are you more likely to go down this route because you have a bad relationship with money, because you grew up not having money? And then once you've known that relationship or that attitude or that habit to money, then it again is the conversation of, just in case you felt that this advert was a great advert, run it past me, or let's have a discussion about me. Or if you're not sure, just let me know and I'll help you. So that before they click buy now, or before they click on a link and they invest and transfer, they were aware. So it's all of us, teachers, parents, community leaders, just understanding what that young person's appetite to money is, appetite to invest in, their aspirations, their ambition, and then let's guide them so that they can, what they aspire to do, they can achieve it, but they can achieve it with the mindset of, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm aware, I'm alert. I think that's the biggest takeaway.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Natasha. I know we can talk for forever on these topics, but yeah, no, thank you very much for joining me today. And I think we've covered a lot of things here. It's now up to you guys as individuals to use this information, advice, and guidance to protect yourselves. Really, we can provide everything, the tools that you need, but you actually have to use the tools for this to be meaningful to you. So yeah, over to you guys. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Ezra.